Welcome back, YouTubers. This is Inland Northwest Native News. I'm your host, Jeff Ferguson, and we got a lot for you on episode 4. All right, we're moving right along. If this is your first time tuning in, thank you for joining us. If you'd like to follow along with what we're doing, be sure to click the red subscribe button. It's down in the lower right hand corner of your screen, and that's like following us on Facebook or following us on Twitter, but it's just on YouTube. So if you click the subscribe, you'll be updated when we put up new videos. Well, right now we're doing weekly episodes and once a week midweek updates that are really more news oriented. It's focusing on issues facing Indian country from the Inland Northwest region nationally, and also within the Native communities here. So you definitely want to check those out. All right, we got the Keller Rodeo and Bullarama coming up Saturday, May 4th and Sunday, May 5th. The Bullarama starts at 4 p.m. on Saturday, and the Junior Rodeo will be held both 10 a.m. both Saturday and Sunday. I might want to check that out. All right, Salish Kootenai College, their powwow is coming up. The SKC powwow is May 10th and 11th. The Colville filmmaker Derek Lemire, he will be screening United by Water. If you hadn't seen that film, you can check it out. That'll be May 11th at the Intellectual House at University of Washington. The SFCC, Spokane Falls Community College Red Nations Powwow is May 18th and 19th. Contact Shanto or Vanessa Pete for more information on that. And the Arrow Lakes Powwow on the Colville Res up Peninsula is coming up May 24th, 25th, and 26th. So you definitely want to check that out. We have a ton of things to do here. So, to kind of get things going, before I get too much into the news, give you a little insight as far as what we got. We got a really great interview with Leanne Campbell from her basket hat class that she had out in Plummer down on the Coeur d'Alene Reservation. We also have some commentary from CarylDene Swan. She's going to talk to us a little bit about what's going on down there on the reservation. And we also have a real nice interview with Melodi Wynne from the Spokane Tribal Network. And they're hosting some workshops by Indigenous food nutritionist Elizabeth Campbell, and she's going to be talking to us about some of the projects that they've got going out there, and tell us a little bit about the workshop they did on infused beverages with indigenous foods. So that's coming up later on in the episodes. Real good information. You know, there's a big movement towards food sovereignty and sustainability, and that's what they're going to be talking about. So you definitely want to check that out. Some really cool stuff. I mean, if you're into huckleberries, you're into gooseberries, if you're into the teas and natural stuff, you definitely want to stick around. Moving right along, Community Memorial for Murdered Native People. This is quite a ways out, but it's coming up. I want to give you a heads up because it's out in Browning, and this will be over July 4th at 7:30 p.m. At the skate park. The family of Shane LaPlante would like to bring our community together for awareness to injustices plaguing our reservation. We invite all community members to honor families who have lost loved ones to murder, violence, and injustice. There will be a BMX bike competition, fireworks show, followed by a free feed with live music by From the Ashes. For more information, contact Joe Wagner, 406-899-6457. CSKT Natural Resources is holding a community muscle walk on Flathead Lake. That's May 2nd and 3rd. This is an event for all community members and students. They will have 4 stations to set up along with shore cleanup. For more information, you can see the flyer that's going to be posted in the comment section down below, or you can contact Sierra Masila at sierra.mahseelah@cskt.org. That's Sierra Masila. So that's coming up out on the beach, Flathead Res. Moving right along, CSKT Early Childhood Services 44th Annual Head Start Powwow. This is Friday, May 3rd from 4 to 8 p.m. in the Ronan Event Center. Building resilience through language and culture. Grand entries at 5 p.m. Dancers line up at 4:30. Dinner will be served after introductions. There's a round dance prize walk. Drums will be paid. Please stop by or call us at 406-745-4509. Again, it's the 44th Annual Head Start Powwow at the Ronan Event Center on May 3rd. So, honoring our elders. This will be held Wednesday, May 8th at the Grey Wolf Peak Casino. You can contact Jesse McDonald at 406-883-3636, extension 458 for information on that. Again, that's honoring our elders, and that'll be held Wednesday, May 8th at the Grey Wolf Peak Casino. So, trying to get through these as they come up because there's so many things going on in Indian country. It's a great time to be an Indigenous. We have Orchard Lanes Native American Bowling League Tuesday nights at 6:30 p.m. starting May 7th. Cost is $15 per week for 13 weeks. Costs include free practice all summer long. Team members must be Native American, spouse of a Native, or tribal employees, and anyone who wants to have a good time with a fun group of people. 3-person teams, weekly prizes. Call for more information. Ryan at 208-743-7822 or Cindy at 208-553-1019. Again, links in the comment section below. So down on the Warm Springs res, Arleta Rowan, her cradleboard work was going to be featured Friday, April 26th at 10 a.m. This has actually been rescheduled to May 10th at 10 a.m. So if you weren't able to make it before, you can make it this time. Living Traditions with Arleta Rowan and her cradleboard work. Please join us as we welcome our living treasure, Arleta, to share with the community and public about her work and traditional knowledge. Check it out at the museum at Warm Springs out on Highway 26. On to Warm Springs Rest. So another thing we got coming up here. This is really cool. I'm really happy they're doing this. The Nez Perce Res, the Nez Perce Invitational Golf Tournament. So this is May 10th and 11th, and it's $140 for a tournament fee. It includes entry fee, green fees, and cart for Saturday and Sunday. Or it's hosted at the Clarkston Golf and Country Club. You can contact the Clearwater River Casino at 1-866-719-3885. For room reservations, if you want to go down there and stay, we'll have the links to this flyer down in the description below. But I really think this is awesome. You know, these guys just got this country club down there in Clarkston, and here we are already in the golf season. They're starting off with the tournament. Tee time start at 10 a.m., horse race in the afternoon, dinner provided to all players at 7 p.m. at the Clearwater River Casino. Pretty cool. $41 for green fees for Friday practice rounds. If you want to check in early and go by. They also have on Sunday, a shotgun's going to start up at 9 a.m. with lunch provided at the Clarkston Country Club. Man, heck, $140. That's a heck of a deal. I could almost eat $140 worth of food just going down there. Moving along. Mother's Day Market, May 10th, 11th, and 12th, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. on the 10th, and 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. on the 11th to 12th. Be sure to save the date. Vendor tables are $10 a day or $25 for the whole weekend. This is at the Yakima Cultural Center down in Toppenish on the Yakima Res. So Mother's Day, Mother's Day Market. All right, coming up on the Silver Fox Golf Course at the Salish Kootenai College. Men's League start May 14th at 6 p.m. Mixed League start May 30th at 6 p.m. And Women's Fun Night on Wednesday nights. For more information, call 406-675-7888. Could you imagine a generation ago, 2 generations ago, whether our tribes would be owning and running golf courses? Our great-grandparents could never imagine anything like this. This is positive movement in Indian country. We're moving on up. Yakima National Tribal School, Yakima Nation Boys 15U Tournament. May 17th through the 19th, 3 games guaranteed. 1 warm-up game and double elimination brackets. Entry fees $200. 10 championship awards and all-star awards. Must be 15U on data tournament. And the same weekend, 4th annual VFW Youth Basketball Tournament in Welpinit. So this will be May 17th and 19th as well. This is 9U co-ed, 11U co-ed, $125 registration, 10 max roster, 10 championship hoodies, 10 second place long sleeves. All participants receive a shirt. 4th annual VFW Youth Basketball Tournament on the Spokane Res. Yakima Nation honors women veterans. Here we go. There's more information on this. May 17th, 10 a.m. Yakima Nation's Legends Casino at 580 Fort Road, Toppenish, honoring Virginia Beavert, World War II Army veteran. Masters of Ceremonies, Anthony Washeen's presentation of colors, special honoring of women veterans, a salmon lunch and informational booth. So be sure to check that out, honoring our women warriors in the Yakima Reservation. Yeah, so this is on the Confederated Salish Kootenai tribal members. If you're interested in business or a business owner, they're offering summer internships. Summer internships are available if you're a Confederated Salish Kootenai tribal member, ages 16 to 25, and interested in learning about how a business operates. You may qualify for a $3,000 to $6,000 summer internship. That's $12.50 an hour. If you operate a business on the reservation and are interested in sponsoring an intern, you may qualify for a free grant ranging from $2,900 to $5,800. All right, applications are due May 20th, so be sure to get those in. Veterans Powwow, 4th of July. This one's on Blackfeet Res, and this one's coming up. Blackfeet Manpower One Stop Center presents the 2nd annual Veterans 4th of July powwow, Wednesday, July 3rd at Chewing Blackbones Campground. $5 a car at the gate. BYOC, bring your own chairs. Prizes will be announced soon. Sponsors of opportunities available. So it's a huge fireworks display at the end of the day. Largest one-day event of the summer. No drugs or alcohol. Family-friendly public event. All right, lots of information there on that flyer. I'll be sure to leave the links in the comment section or the description section below. Wow, that's a lot of announcements. Holy cow, there's a lot of things going on in Indian country, especially here in the inland Northwest, where, again, it's a great day to be Indigenous. Before we get going too far, I want to say kudos, congratulations to Lewis and Clark High School student Xavier Guillory. I hope I pronounced that right. So Xavier here just announced that he was going to the Air Force Academy. He's going Division I football. Way to go, baby. Good job. Love to do an interview with you if you're out there, if his family's out there. Give us a shout out. Let us know. We'd love to come out and do a story on Xavier. This is amazing. Little bit of info on him. This article by Micaiah Chen says, make no mistake about it. This 6'3" receiver has easily been one of the state's top playmakers over the past few years. A big challenge coming up for him is going to be his transition into being an Air Force student athlete. Between the rigors of military training, football practice, and high academic standards, Guillory knows he'll need to be mentally strong. Because he was tucked away in Spokane, Guillory largely flew under the radar during his time at Lewis and Clark. Wow. Good job, Xavier. Kudos again. We want to shout out to you. Good job, man. And keep up the good work. And we're gonna be watching you on the Air Force Academy's football team. So just know we're behind you, man. Just know we're behind you. All right. All right, moving right along. The prestigious NIH Award goes to Spokane Youth Addiction Program, Healing Lodges, 7 Nations, and Cambridge Health Alliance to build tribally and culturally grounded mental health emergency response training program. The Spokane Valley, Washington, I'm going to leave a link to the Facebook page that has this article, again, in the description section below. April 29th, the Native American Research Centers of Health, NARCH, has awarded the Healing Lodge of the 7 Nations a grant totaling over $2.35 million to be awarded over the next 4 years. The Healing Lodge is a Spokane-based youth chemical dependency treatment center. Shout out to you guys at the Healing Lodge. Good job, man. 2.35 going right at the problem, man. That's great. Way to go. Moving along. 2019, Coeur d'Alene Tribal Youth Group got invited to the NABI boys basketball tournament in Phoenix, Arizona. They are doing a fundraiser, and they are looking for $1,500. They are raising money to help pay for their travel expenses, per diem, etc., and all associated costs with our travel down to the tourney. We have been accepted into our tournament, and so now we need to raise funds. They're at $1,105. Their goal is $1,500, so they're less than $400 away from their goal. So if you could kick down maybe $20 or $30, I'm sure they'd really appreciate that. I'm going to leave the link to that fundraiser in the description below. Moving right along, again, we're back to the salmon. Salmon. It's a major thing this year, all throughout the inland Northwest and over on the coast too. So it's something I think we all really need to work towards. We've got state representatives working for us. We got governors working for us. We got tribal leaders working for us. This article is a little bit older, but I think it's really relevant to the one that I'm going to talk about right after this. Low numbers lead to fish restrictions on Chinook salmon. This is a Kiro 7 News. By Shelby Miller on April 16th. Low numbers of Chinook salmon are leading state agencies to cut back on fisheries and the fishing season. The big news is that this summer, fishermen on the Columbia River will not be allowed to keep any Chinook salmon, including jacks or sockeyes. None. Zip, nada. You can't keep any. There will be restrictions in the Puget Sound after projected low returns of key Chinook stocks, according to Washington State Department of Fish and Wildlife. The Chinook, it's the preferred of the salmon. It's a very desirable product in sports, commercials. Everybody wants it, says Jorge Villarreal, Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife hatchery manager. So, they're not going to be able to keep any of it. That's crazy. Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife says the lower quotas will indirectly benefit southern resident orca whales with fewer boats and less noise, and decrease competition for salmon in areas where the endangered whales feed. There's a link again for that, and that moves us right into this update here. April 25th. This is last Thursday. A pod of orcas is starving to death. The tribe has a radical plan to feed them. Man, this is amazing. The Lummi Nation is dropping live salmon into the sea in a last-ditch rescue effort. We don't have much time. By Levi Polkanen out of the San Juan Islands. This is a Guardian article. So if you're familiar with the Guardian, it's a great article. I highly recommend you check it out. The Lummi tribe once again are stepping it up, man. They're leading. They are truly leaders when it comes to wildlife preservation, salmon restoration, environmentalism. It's great to see them. They lead by example. You don't hear anything about it until they're doing it. They're doing it, and they're right on it, man. These guys, kudos to the Lummies, man. Thank you. It's something that the salmon, the orcas, the water, the air, our land, our children, we need to stick together. We need to remain in solidarity. The more that we can work together, the more that we can accomplish. And we need to keep the orcas coming back. We need to keep the salmon coming back, and anything and everything that it takes to restore our way of life, or to restore the fish populations. Any and all of it is a move in the right direction for preserving our culture for our future generations. Our children, our grandchildren, and our great-great-grandchildren. This, again, has to do with fishermen, fisher people, the way of life. This one's on the Columbia. Last article. After 3 years, federal bill to fix Columbia River tribal fishing sites could become law. By Molly Harberger out of the Oregonian. So Molly, thanks for running this article, man. About 3 years ago, after Oregon Representative Earl Blumenauer visited Lone Pine, there might finally be a movement to fix the decrepit conditions there where Columbia River tribal members live full-time. About 35 families live at Lone Pine, where they share a single restroom with 4 shower stalls and 4 toilets, none of which have doors. Holy cow. The toilets occasionally back up onto the floor of the bathroom, sending the smell of waste wafting through the camp. With so many families living there, the sanitation truck almost never arrives soon enough. Wow, it sounds like these guys could use any help they can get. And, hopefully this is something we can get to go through. A bill that allocates $11 million to fix Lone Pine's sewer and water infrastructure, safety and sanitation issues is expected to pass its final obstacle Monday. The bill also calls on the U.S. Bureau of Indian Affairs to assess the other 30 sites dedicated to allowing 4 tribes to carry out their federally protected rights to fish the river. The 31 sites were created for members of the Umatilla, Nez Perce, Warm Springs, and Yakima, all inland Northwest Native tribes. After federal government flooded their traditional fishing sites in their villages, nearly all have fallen into despair after $6.3 million pot of money allocated for their maintenance for the next 50 years runs out in less than 2 decades due to high volume of use and inadequate facilities. We've got 31 of these sites and an obligation to treat the tribes fairly, Blumenauer said Friday. All right, let's hope they can get this pushed through, man. Those fisher people, it's hard work. You pulling in those, that's not easy. And, they deserve to live just as good as any of us. That's the way of life that we had all throughout the Columbia Plateau and the interior Salish tribes. So, moving right along, we want to talk a little bit about what we got coming up. So, we have an interview coming up, first of all, with Leanne Campbell with her advanced basketry Plateau basket hat making class she did down in Plummer at the Wellness Center down there. We also have an interview with CarylDene Swan, who's got some insight coming from the Coeur d'Alene Res, so be sure to stick around for that. And then we go out to the Spokane Tribal Longhouse with the Spokane Tribal Network with Spokane Tribal members Melodi Wynne, PhD extraordinaire, and Indigenous food nutritionist Elizabeth Campbell. So stick around. Good stuff coming up. Thanks for joining us. Again, if you have any questions or comments, please let us know. If there's things that you want us to cover coming up throughout the season, be sure to check it out. Remember, we have we're going to be dedicating an entire episode to Native teams down at Hoopfest, and Hoopfest is right around the corner. We'll leave the registration link to Hoopfest again in the description below. Be sure to sign up and get your team names in and send it to us so we can track your brackets, come around, check you out, get a few shots of you guys, maybe doing a little dunking, maybe doing hey, I'm just kidding. Anyhow, be sure to check us out on Facebook, check us out on Twitter too, and be sure to let us know anything and everything that you'd like us to cover. There are so many events going on, as you can see. It took me that long just to get through that many events, but we are more than happy to come out. If you know somebody that's an exceptionally positive role model in Indian country that you'd like us to interview, somebody you'd like to feature, let us know. We'd love to come out and share some time with them and hear their story and share their stories with you. That's really what this channel is all about. It's not about me. It's about you. It's about the people. It's about our communities. It's about the interior Salish Columbia Plateau tribes of the Inland Northwest. All of the native people and our non-native allies, the communities within that area. That's what this is about. It's for you, and we want to make sure that we're covering the things that you want to hear. You know, if you want food reviews from the casinos that we go to, if you want powwow updates, if you want an events calendar, if you want any of those things, just let us know. We'll be happy to put them together. We'll be happy to we want to be around. We want to be here for a long time. You know, we're on our 4th episode. I myself, going into this, made a commitment of 50 episodes, and I'm going to stick it out. We got a ton of different things coming up, but we want to be able to provide you with the news and information and cover the events that you want to see, the things that you want to hear about. That's what it's all about. Is filling that void. You know, for forever, as long as I can remember, we had this huge gap in mainstream media throughout the Inland Northwest. You know, the coastal tribes have always had lots of coverage from mainstream media, but when you get into eastern Washington, northern Idaho, northeastern Oregon, and western Montana, it's just kind of a black hole for media. We would prepare press releases and send them out to the news stations or to the radio stations or the newspapers, and we want to cover this stuff, and we want to do it for you accurately. We want to check our facts and check our facts and check our sources and make sure that what we're covering is solid information for you. And we're going to be doing more environmental stuff coming up. We have a lot of environmental issues that are impacting us, and it's changing very quickly. You know, as regulations change. What's interesting to see is even though some of the regulations are being lifted on a federal level, you see these local communities, the cities and the states and the tribes that come together, and they are still pushing back really hard to save our lands and our water and our air, and it's inspiring in so many ways, and we want to be able to share those stories with you, and we want to be able to share your stories. So be sure to leave your comments and your questions in the comment section below. Be sure to like and subscribe, and be sure to let us know if there's anything out there that we're missing, or if there's a new segment that you'd want us to bring aboard. One of the segments that I want to start doing is the thing that we call Coyote Corner, and Coyote Corner is going to be a special interview with tribal elders. You know, we're going to go out and spend an afternoon with tribal elders, and we already have a couple that we've done, but we'd love to get some more time. Here's some of those great stories, coyote stories or not, you know, stories of growing up on the res back in the 40s or 50s, you know, back when things were very different than they are now, you know, the way things were. We want to get those stories. We want to capture them. It's a project that has several agendas. One is just sharing those stories with you guys, but it's also being able to preserve those stories for future generations. You know, preserving the culture, preserving the heritage and the history. You know, that's really what this is all about. So thank you once again for joining us. Aho, we can't do this without you. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to tell your friends and family. Be sure to follow us on Facebook. All right, let's get into some of those interviews. Check this out. I hope you like it. So we are here, Inland Northwest Native News with Leanne Campbell, and Leanne is a Coeur d'Alene tribal member, and she's heading up the culture part of the casino now. That's what I heard. Yeah, can you talk a little bit about that for us?
Sure, I can. So good afternoon or good evening. My name is Leanne Campbell. I'm a member of the Coeur d'Alene tribe, but I'm also Colville and Nez Perce, and I just recently took a job at the Coeur d'Alene Casino in February, and I work in cultural tourism. And that is one of the aspects of a newer aspect of the casino, where we're trying to educate our visitors about the Coeur d'Alene tribe and our history and our landscape, and then parts of our culture that we can share at a surface level without kind of exposing ourselves too much. We try to share with them to help educate them, because they're interested in learning about us.
Excellent.
And it really helps if people understand our first first residents of these this area, and it really helps a lot if they are able to learn our history and our culture. They tend to understand us a little bit more if they can see it and hear about our history, firsthand from Coeur d'Alene tribal members, and then have those learning opportunities, through workshops and tours out into the landscape. So we have a few different tours that we run. One is to the Old Mission State Park at Cataldo, which is the oldest standing building in the state of Idaho. It's over 150 years old, and it was made by the Coeur d'Alene tribal members, along with the Jesuits. The last battle tour, it's one of those ones that's an all-day tour. They leave the casino, and we have a historian along with Coeur d'Alene tribal members that will go out to specific sites and talk about the history and what was happening at that time during the battle. And we have a working bison ranch that's here on the Coeur d'Alene reservation. Oh. It's owned by non-natives, but we bring tour groups out there by busloads and talk to them about the importance of buffalo and what it means to us. And so we have a lot of kind of surface level culture things that we're sharing. I've been really active in teaching traditional arts. I take a lot of commission work. I've been a practicing artist for over half of my life. Oh. And so I do beadwork, basketry, pretty much anything that you can think of I do. And one of my pushes is just, to help revitalize some of our traditional arts that we're starting to lose, some of the ones that aren't practiced as often, such as the basket hat class that we have going today. And we have people from the Coeur d'Alenes, the Colvilles, Nez Perce, Warm Springs, and Yakima.
Oh, excellent.
That all traveled to be here weaving with us this weekend.
All the way from Yakima.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's so cool.
And Warm Springs, from here, that's a 6 to 8 hour drive.
Geez, that is. That's really cool. I heard that you were doing this, and I was like, that's just too cool. Yeah. Growing up, I would see them every now and then, and they weren't really because I imagine it's because they're so hard to make and they take so long that there weren't a lot of them that I remember seeing. But the older Indian women, they had them.
Yeah. And I know they're passed down in families, and you don't see a lot of hat makers anymore. And so this is one of those ways that we're helping that revitalization of this type of work for it to be able to continue in other communities. We all belong to those same cultural groups. We're all Plateau Indian people. We have a lot of common threads that we share, and we have some gaps of information that we're missing. And this is one of the ways that we can help each other fill in those gaps to be able to continue these important teachings that we're missing right now. And for the basket hat, for us women, it's an important marker of our cultural identity. I've always danced short fringe and basket hat. And when I was in school down in Santa Fe, I was dancing in powwows down in the Southwest, and the only one that was down there with another basket hat was Pearl Samaripa. Oh. And they said, "Oh, you must be Pearl's daughter." They just automatically thought we were, mother-daughter, but they associate that with us in the Northwest and the Plateau. That's one of our cultural identity markers. That's visibly easy to see, so. And then there's other, uses for it. They're still used and worn like during the powwows, and then, more importantly, they're associated with our longhouse activities and our food gathering practices. And so they're still a really important part of our culture and our history and our connection to the past. And this is just something that we need to continue doing.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah. So you have another class coming up.
Yes, and so I have workshops that I'm teaching at the Coeur d'Alene Casino as part of the cultural tourism program. On May 19th, I have a Pendleton Moccasin class workshop, and that's going to be open to 20 participants. We'll have pre-cut kits, and the participants will go away with a pair of moccasins that they hand sew together themselves. And then on May 31st, I have a Plateau Basketry Basics class, which is just learning how to do our small round root bags that we use like during this season, our gathering season, when we're out getting our roots, and can also use those for berry season too.
Wow, very cool.
So that's on May 31st, and that one is open for 20 participants as well, and tickets are on sale at CarylDeneCasino.com. So come and join in.
Shameless plug.
I know.
No, that's great. I really appreciate all of that you're doing. I appreciate your work. For those of you that haven't seen her work, this is one of the finest craftsmen in all of Indian country. Definitely one of the finest craftsmen in the inland Northwest. It's an honor to be here at your class.
Thank
It's
you.
an honor to see your work. Every time I see your work, it's just like, wow, that is just, you're so talented. I appreciate your taking the time today.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate you being here.
So I want to ask you, I saw a hat, and I'm pretty sure you're the one that did it.
Okay.
And it was on Charlen Teters.
Oh, yes.
Can you tell us a little story about that?
Yeah. So 2 years ago, I'm a graduate of the Institute of American Indian Arts in Santa Fe, New Mexico. I graduated there with my BFA, my Bachelor of Fine Arts in Museum Studies with a minor in Studio Arts. And so I keep a really close connection to the Institute of American Indian Arts, and especially Plateau people that we have there in Santa Fe. I try to keep a really close connection. Even when I was there, I wanted to, try to stay connected to Char because she's, just our neighbor, and we're all interrelated and intermarried. And so I felt that closeness and connection to her, from the time I got down there, years ago. And we've remained friends. And I went to Santa Fe 2 years ago, and I did an artist in residency. I applied for that and was able to take a 30-day period to go down to the Institute of American Indian Arts and focus on basketry. But during that time, I was visiting quite a bit with Char. She'd come into the studio down in Santa Fe and talk and visit, and she asked me she wanted to commission a hat for me. And so I started a hat. I usually, whenever I start a project, I always make sure that I have enough material to finish what I'm doing. And that particular hat that I had for her, I seen this red yarn that I wanted to use, and it had sparkle in it. I was like, oh, red sparkles, I want to use this one. And it was a small little ball, and I was thinking I had enough. And I got halfway through the hat, and I ran out of that color. I went all over Spokane, I went all over Coeur d'Alene. I was looking for that color everywhere. I couldn't find it, so I had to use a different red to finish the bottom. So that's a two-tone red hat that she has. I know, it's very custom. And so I was like, Char, I don't know if I really like how this is turning out. And so I started a second one. And then it turned out she ended up with two of my hats because she absolutely loved them both. And so she's the Dean of Students at the Institute of American Indian Arts, and she walks through the graduation processions with the Institute of American Indian Arts graduates, and she wears my hats when she goes.
Honor.
Yeah,
How cool is that?
It's really cool. I just love seeing that work out there.
So I heard this work is so powerful. This work is so powerful. I love hearing these stories. So rumor has it, she's retiring.
Yes.
And so she'll be hanging around these parts a little bit more. What do you think about that?
I love it. I can't wait. Yeah. We have such a gap with, since we lost George and some of the other ones that really pushed art out in the forefront in this area. We just need more people at home. I mean, because I know you and I are out working and talking and speaking to groups, but we need more people that are interested in pushing the arts. Yeah. And I can't wait for Char to get home. I think it's going to be awesome. It's going to be fun. I was like, I can't wait for you to get here.
Very cool.
Inland Northwest Native News, like and subscribe.
All right, easy enough. Thank you so much.
Yes.
I really appreciate you letting us come down.
Of course.
All right, so we are out here with CarylDene on the Coeur d'Alene Reservation, and we are just having a great day out here. We saw some really cool people doing some really cool things, and I found out some news about you. So tell us a little bit about what you're up to.
Actually just been busy, active, of course, working around the Coeur d'Alene tribe. I'm currently the Coeur d'Alene tribe's Older American Program Manager. And this year I decided to throw my name in the hat for the race for Tribal Council.
All right. Well, congratulations. Can you talk a little bit about maybe some of your platform? Maybe some what motivated you? Why did you decide to get in now?
Well, honestly, it's just, my passion and love for the Coeur d'Alene tribe. I've always been very proud to be a Coeur d'Alene tribal member. I come from a long legacy of tribal leaders. My great-grandfather, David Garrick, was also on tribal council. And then also I'm the seventh generation direct descendant of Chief Pierre Wildshoe, who is also the second headman of the Coeur d'Alene tribe.
Wow, that's cool. So you guys have amazing things that are going on out here all the time. I'm so excited. I can't wait. I guess there's going to be a groundbreaking for the youth center coming up. So there's a youth center that's going on. You guys are just started integrating culture program. Well, I don't know that you just started it, but I know that Leanne just got on to do the culture over at the casino, doing that kind of thing. Can you tell me a little bit about more about other things that you guys might have going on around here?
Well, actually, we are proud supporters of the Boys and Girls Club. We honestly spend a lot of time here volunteering, working with the youth, introducing culture back into the program. We on Monday evenings after work, we actually come in here and spend an hour with the youth, teaching them how to make moccasins. So it's a really good thing to come in and help the youth and contribute to our community and perpetuate so that our traditions and culture can continue carrying forward. And we also plan on doing more basket weaving workshops in the future. We're actually working with the Washington State Penitentiary, so we'll be actually going in there and teaching some of the inmates basic basketry, and then expanding further probably into other institutions through the Washington State Penitentiary system.
Excellent. So kind of backing up a little bit, can you talk to me a little bit about why you think Coeur d'Alene tribal members would want to vote for you? What are some of the things that you really stand for?
Integrity, honesty. Definitely that's been one of my major platforms. Transparency, and that is a big issue in terms of wrapping your arms around. I mean, a lot of people have a difficult time wrapping their mind around what that even actually means or what can we actually contribute. But I honestly feel that being honest, straightforward, and always protecting our rights and sovereignty and maintaining a good stand with our community and being honest and forward and sharing information and informing them, because that is one thing that's been a common issue amongst our community is being truly informed.
I know some of the challenges the Coeur d'Alene tribes faced over the years has to do with sovereignty and the checkerboarding a reservation.
That's exactly right.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
It's actually been an issue since I was a young girl, and I'm actually a landowner, so I understand wholeheartedly what we're dealing with. It's difficult. We actually have allocated 25% of our gaming revenue to hopefully at one time purchase our land purchase back, buy our land back. And it's been a challenge. It's very difficult in terms of trying to actually reach out and try to buy land. Once we get out there and start wanting to buy land, the price goes up as soon as they find out that we're actually the buyer. So it's been a challenge, and we hope to actually overcome that by broadening and actually buying back our land. As a landowner, I know we're dealing with some issues with the BIA in terms of land ownership and who has the power of attorney and signing over, who has the signing of lease agreements and land sales or anything like that. So a lot of tribal members are feeling like their rights as a landowner are being taken away from them, from the tribe. So that's something that I hope to come to the table and bring to negotiation and come up with some good ideas and lift them off and hopefully work together with the BIA and the tribe and the landowners to bring some sort of agreement.
Great. That's great insight. Can you tell us maybe hint around a little bit about when that groundbreaking on the new youth center might be?
Oh, we hope honestly here soon. I haven't actually even been informed on a date myself, and it's pretty exciting. My daughter's part of the Boys and Girls Club, so she hasn't even told me that either. So I'm pretty excited to find out myself. There's a lot of good movement with that. The Boys and Girls Club would actually move over into Worley, and this center would actually be open and available more for the physical therapy and the community a little bit more. So it's really exciting, and I look forward to that opportunity.
All right. I really appreciate that. Over the years, I'm in Spokane, but over the years, I don't know how many times I've been down here to your Benoit clinic and to the new center, the how do you say it?
Mariman Health.
Mariman. It'll always be Benoit to me.
Yeah, we always say that too.
Yeah, it's always been so cool. I love coming to this reservation because I always feel so welcome. I remember when I came here as a kid, I remember coming down to the powwow grounds and how small the powwow was, and to see how much economic development there's been out here, how much growth, how the tribe has just really been able to take advantage of a lot of the opportunities and just been able to grow as a community and help restore the culture.
Absolutely.
And, make a really strong, powerful stand. Anytime you come into the North Idaho area, the Coeur d'Alene tribe is just their representation is everywhere. Going in through the city of Coeur d'Alene, the big, you can't miss the feathers.
Absolutely.
And then, I really look forward to having Jeliamps out here.
So do I. That's actually a really big issue amongst the tribal members, is actually bringing that home.
Yeah.
And so a lot of tribal members are really voicing their concern and opinion about bringing that powwow back to the reservation. And it would actually do a lot of good for our community, a lot of economic development for our local community and businesses. And there's a lot of good opportunity just to bring in that back home, bringing those cultural traditions back to our homelands.
Yeah. Well, for me, it was kind of neat to see out at the Kootenai County Fairgrounds. Yeah. It was a good venue. I think that it wasn't quite the dog track. I liked the dog track. The dog track had beautiful sunsets at Grand Entry. Oh my gosh, that was the coolest thing. But for me, I think bringing it home, it is. It's not. Jeliamps is not a Kootenai County thing. It's a Coeur d'Alene people thing.
Actually, yeah.
And so, even though it has become part of the tradition in Kootenai County, I think having it here would be powerful.
Absolutely. Historically, at the Jeliamps powwow, looking through some old archives and readings, it was actually held down in St. Mary's. And so historically, that gathering took place in that area. And so therefore, it actually moved into the Kootenai County area, which is fine, but still, it'd be nice to have it back to our homelands.
I remember looking down the line of cars to get in. You could see was backed up to the interstate. That was amazing.
That was amazing.
Cool, good times. Well, thank you so much for your insight, and thank you for taking the time, and good luck with your campaign this year. All the best to you, and again, we appreciate you letting us come in and get a little insight from you. Thank you.
Good to see you again.
All right. All right, so we're here with Melodi Wynne from the Spokane Travel Network. Melodi, can you talk to us a little bit about what's going on out here at the Longhouse today?
Well, we're doing today teacher training on 10 Gather Grow. So we're talking about native infusions, which is healthy drinks and also power snacks. But the larger project with the Spokane Tribal Network, Ketsut, community-centered engagement piece is that we're tying our foods and plants into healing, not only the preparing them and taking them into our bodies, but also the tending to them in the wild and gathering them from the wild and interacting with the environment and the land and the plants like that, just to re-engage with our responsibility to our plant relatives.
Excellent. Well, this is a great program. We had a good turnout. What do you look forward to the best about, or the most about something like this?
The re-engagement, because I really see how when we get our hands in the dirt, when we get our hands in the trees, and we make that medicine and share it out, how healing that is for us, and strengthening and building relationships, not only with the land and the plants, but also with other people.
Can you tell us a little bit more about Spokane Tribal Network and what your maybe goals and objectives are?
The Spokane Tribal Network is a nonprofit within the Spokane Tribe, and we just look for ways that we can help in the community, and especially around healing type projects. And so looking at healing from a holistic lens rather than just a compartmentalized kind of view. And then the project that I'm working on is through a HRSA grant, which is rural health, and so we're started out as creating a trauma-informed therapy center and trauma-informed training center, but naturally, when we dig into that and look at how our ancestors might look at that, it gets bigger, and so now we're looking at, like I said, the healing-centered engagement, which contains everything that trauma-informed contains, but it also includes spirituality, culture, and then civic engagement as healing too. So
Excellent. Thank you. Well, thank you so much for sharing that, and thanks for putting us all together, man. I think it's really a good way to unite a lot of the people in the community.
thanks for showing up.
All right. Thank you. We are out here for Inland Northwest Native News, and we are here for is this like an Indigenous food summit, or how would you describe what you're doing?
It's a native infusion, healthy beverages, rethink your drink, and healthy snacks class.
So you guys have something planned later on today. What can you tell me about that?
We are going to talk about native food nutrition and some of the kind of guiding principles around native foods, and then we're going to break out and make a bunch of different kinds of healthy snacks. So this morning we made several types of tea, and we're talking about setting up a tea station, and then we're going to make pemmican and rosehip jam with the group.
And you guys will be back again tomorrow. Can you talk a little bit about maybe what's going to happen tomorrow?
Yeah, we're having a food sovereignty discussion tomorrow. So we're trying to increase tribal food sovereignty out here on the Spokane Reservation. And so from 9 to noon tomorrow, the whole community and beyond is invited for a community discussion on food sovereignty and what that looks like here in this community.
The types of programs that we do around food and medicine have been integrated into so many different kinds of programs. So everything from schools to after-school programs to culture camps to suicide prevention, drug and alcohol, domestic violence, anything that has to do with kind of healing and cultural resiliency. I work through GRuB, Garden Raised Bounty in Olympia, and we specifically work with youth around around empowerment, and we work with veterans and tribal communities. And so if you go to goodgrub.org and look under 10 Gather Grow, some of the resources that we are sharing today are there. And then I also have a website called wildfoodsandmedicines.com, and a lot of the individual plants we're talking about, like rose and Douglas fir and different kinds of wild berries and edible greens, are on there as well. I think that these medicines are all around us, that food is medicine, and some of this, it gets us into seasons and stories and language and family traditions.
It brings us together.
Mm-hmm.
So far today, we've learned about some of the drinks that we and foods that a lot of us eat on a daily basis, and how much sugar is in that, and then just the effects that it has on our bodies and immune systems. And then we've been looking at a whole bunch of different alternatives and our traditional foods and medicines and teas that we can have instead. And so it's kind of crazy how everything that we have, that we've been sampling today and learning about, and all the benefits, it's all kind of in our backyard, so we can go out and gather it all. And so yeah, it's really exciting to just be able to have it right in front of us, and see it and smell it and taste it and feel it, and just how much better it is for us.
So do you think this is important for the kids around here to learn about this stuff?
Yeah, it's extremely important. And for me, because I got to go 2 weeks ago to the first session put on by Elizabeth Campbell. And for me personally, it's like a healing experience to be able to actually go through their curriculum and see it firsthand, and actually participate in making our own medicines and foods. And so I wish every single tribal member, and especially the kids, could go through it, because it's just the benefits for me have just been really good. And so I think it's important also to just connect us to our roots and our past too, because traditionally we've always used our plants as our food and medicine, and so it's just good to be going back to it.
Very cool. All right. What do you think? What do you think has been the when you knew you were going to come back when you came the first time, and you probably heard a little bit about the agenda. What were you looking forward to the most?
I guess when you get to do it hands-on is when it really sinks in, and you kind of learn and remember more. Because, for me, it's kind of like when somebody's like when you want to get into shape, but you're kind of intimidated to go to the gym, and you don't go because you're kind of scared to. It's kind of intimidating. But for me, I've always been interested in our plants and medicines, but was never raised with any of the knowledge, and so I've never really gone out and gathered, so I didn't really know anything. So it was good to break down the barriers and for me to learn the step-by-step process and so it's not as intimidating to me. So that was for what I've been looking forward to, is just all of the hands-on that we get to do.
That's really cool because, growing up too, you always hear about these like Indian medicines and all these Indian foods and all that kind of thing. And it's like, if you don't have somebody to show you and you don't know, you could be eating some stuff that's, not so good for you. So that's kind of neat.
Yeah, that's why I was always scared, because a lot of our foods, like camas, there's the death camas that you have to look out for, which could be deadly, and then a lot of the other ones have these plants that look like them too, so then that was another thing that always kind of scared me off. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of the workshops.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you. Is this the first class you've taken from these gals, or?
No, they were here last week, and so we learned about the trees, different trees, and how they are made into food and medicine, and stories. I like the stories.
All right. Why? What do you think is the best part of these classes that they're giving?
I think it's just knowing. I always try to teach kids to know their surroundings and just the way our world is. If something happens and you get lost, or just knowing how to survive, and just being able to take care of your body with the natural foods our ancestors ate all the time. So I think that's important for them to know that and to get away from the sugar.
So they had a kind of an agenda set up. I know they had stuff they were doing this morning and stuff this evening, and then tomorrow again, I think. What are you looking forward to the most?
I like this part because my granddaughters are getting like tummy problems from the food they eat. We were at a basketball tournament, and so you're just on the run eating food that wasn't good, and then having the energy drink. So I really want to be able to help them replace that, so they're not getting sick. They both kind of got sick, and I know it's just the food and the sugar. And,
yeah. It's kind of scary now when we look at pharmaceuticals. We have so many things that are out there. Every time you turn on the television, there's a new pill that has all these side effects and it's treating something else. Kind of nice to go back to some of the traditional things, if we can. How have the kids that you've interacted with this kind of stuff? How have they taken it?
Oh, they like it. They like going out and gathering, and so we like to go out and do that together. So it's kind of a family thing that we do too. Once a year in September, we go and get a bunch of husk, and that's our main medicine for the year. And then, they just like being out in the woods and learning about the plants and gathering themselves. So we always have something drying around the house.
All right, that's cool. That's a really cool thing. Are you going to the root dig?
Yes, we like to go to the root dig with the school every year.
All right. How many kids are you bringing out, do you know?
Well, they're bringing the school. I have a lot of grandchildren, so.
I had no clue.
Yep.
Yeah, that's great. Well, thank you so much for your time, and enjoy the rest of the workshops.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Inland Northwest Native News, like and subscribe.